Hey there, welcome to Arbor Digital Update from the forest. I'm Tad Reeves, Principal Architect at Arbor Digital. I was told that this year's Adobe Summit, you're gonna have a hard time getting a talk approved unless your talk somehow includes AI in the title. This does not include AI, but it's still one of the more important topics in infrastructure. And this is the subject of redirects. So I was sent a message today by Christian from Adobe with some important new updates on the redirect manager and redirect frameworks for Adobe Experience Manager. Some neat new stuff that I'm going to talk about right now. And I promised him that I was going to go do a podcast on it. However, it then dropped 10 degrees and started snowing with our first snow of the year. But I rely on Adobe for so much in my professional career. I can't let him think that I'm a wimp and I would wuss out on him. So here I go. Christian, this is for you. Woo! This is slippery. And I'll try to keep my equipment intact while I do this. So here we go, redirects. So in an Adobe Experience Manager or Edge Delivery site, actually give me just a second. I'm gonna catch my breath on this before I talk all about it. One moment, please. Recall is very important to us. All right. I think it's safe to resume. So in an Adobe Experience Manager or Edge Delivery site, there are no less than 5, possibly 6, entirely different places where you can define redirects. By redirects, I'm talking about both here I'm at a site and I want the browser to redirect, or I'm talking about pass-throughs where the browser does not redirect, but the user has been given different content. So, because of that, you got to think through first the reasons why you would want to redirect and what are the classes of content that you would have behind such a redirect. For example, is the thing that you're trying to redirect a part of site structure? Like, is it a major part where major functionality of the site is going to break unless that is in place? For example, let's say your content all sits under content in US main site or something like that, or content my site in US or something. But you want all that to be stripped out and have that being served from the root, and all the links in your site depend on that. So that's one thing. It's a major site structure thing. Or are we talking about vanity URLs like mysite.com/Super Bowl promo? Or are we talking about legacy redirects? You have some old CMS and now you've moved to a new CMS, and as such you have retired URLs, a different URL structure, maybe old .php or .aspx files that you now need to redirect from. Is it a permanent redirect? Is it something that requires regular expressions? There are performance implications to think through as well. Like, is it okay if the user, if the request has to go all the way through to the application server? Or do you prefer that the response that includes that redirect is going to be happening at the edge and is fully cached? Another consideration is this something that you're okay with non-technical people making updates to? Or is it essential that non-technical people be able to make updates to it? Or is it something where you really want to make sure that any changes to it are entirely locked down and only happen during a deployment. So with all that, so with all that, it's important to then take stock of the options that you've got. So in Adobe Experience Manager, you have always been able to do Sling mappings, which is at the publisher layer. You're telling the publisher how to respond to requests. Do you want it to serve it straight up? Do you want to pass it through to some other content in the back end, etc.? Now, obviously, anything that's happening in those Sling mappings is requiring that the publisher is answering, meaning that is taking application server CPU cycles to go and deal with. Another place that you can put, and also, those mappings are things that are preferably all done in code. Hopefully you're not one of these people who are making those mods directly live on the server. Just very naughty. So they're going to be done during a deployment window and not just willy-nilly by somebody in marketing. Next, you got Apache level redirects. So redirects that Apache. Again, those are redirects that you are going to make sometimes very, very complicated ones, big, deep, regular expressions that say, oh, for this type, and I only want these ones, and if it's coming from this client IP, then do this and that. Those are good for Apache. Again, those are definitely done in code. Those are definitely going to be updated as a part of a deployment window, and not, again, willy-nilly by somebody in marketing. Now you also have CDN redirects. So Adobe's managed CDN now allows you to do redirects at the CDN tier. These can be done relatively quickly. Still, again, they're done with a redirect pipe with a configuration pipeline. They're very powerful. You do redirects based on client IP, based on client country, or with some conditional logic. And those are really great if you're trying to have a very high performance redirect, because then it's happening as close to the client side as possible. Those are deployed out to Fastly. They're very, very fast. Now, if you're not using Fastly as your CDN and you're using Akamai, a very similar pipeline can be put together with Akamai as well. Now, if you're on edge delivery, there's another set of redirects that you can use. And that's really, really simple to operate. These are redirects that are done in a sheet. So in either a Excel spreadsheet, a Google Doc sheet, or in document authoring as a regular sheet. Let's just say, here's what it was, here's what it is, redirect me. And those are redirects that are then sent to the client's browser. Those type of redirects are very, very easy to be able to have somebody in marketing go and update. Those are also versioned in document authoring, so you can go back to, like if somebody goes and muffs one of them up and, say you have a really high traffic, /sports section of some portion of your site, and somebody goes and bakes that off because of a redirect, it's very, very easy to revert and quick to revert. Now there's another class of redirects, and that is commonly done for legacy redirects, because most companies out there, you're on your 5th or 6th or 8th or 10th redesign of the site. You've been on a bunch of different infrastructures in the past. So, but your old links, especially old links that maybe come from academic or government sources, so they're not likely to change, you got to make sure those still work, so that your any of your things that relied on your link juice for Google backlinks still remain intact. Those links got to keep working. So for those, a lot of companies end up with these massive maps of from and to redirects that have to get changed every so often. Those, they used to be in the old AEM, there's a redirect map manager that you could use, but that has since, it broke with the cloud service because there's just physically no way to do it. Now there is. So there is a pipeline-free redirect method that you could use now with AEM as a cloud service. which is actually brilliant. What you do essentially is you turn it on, and then you can then point it with a configuration, with a little YAML file that sits in your Apache configuration. You just say, here's a place in my AEM repository, which I'm going to stick a text file, and the text file is going to have maybe 100,000 old redirects on it. And so with that text file, you can then just go and plop all your old stuff. That can sit in the repo, meaning you could just assign regular old published permissions to that file. Say who it is that you want to be able to update it. What workflow? Like, do you want it to go to a sysadmin to check it out before somebody deploys it, or do you want it to just deploy straight away? And then rock and roll. Then basically you can give anybody with AEM access to be able to go and update a massive map of redirects, or you can have more than one for your legacy redirects, and one for your like marketing vanities and stuff like that don't necessarily go well with the vanity URLs parameter. Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, maybe 7 different ways that you can do redirects. Yes, there's the vanity URL property in AEM as well. But there you go. There's a ton to think about whenever you're deploying AEM, especially when you're considering a brand new implementation. You're moving from on-premise to the cloud. You're going, okay, where do we put all the references to our old stuff? Where do we put our vanities and so on and so forth? I hope that helps you out. Now I'm gonna have to stop my video because there was a tree in the way. Anyway, I'm gonna enjoy my ride. I hope you guys have a great day.